What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make your footage look like film. I personally hate long tutorials, so I'm getting right into this one. There are two main methods to achieving that beautiful filmic nostalgic look. The first one I'm going to show you requires no plugins at all. We're just going to build it from scratch. And then the second one is using a plugin called Dehancer, which I just discovered and 10 out of 10 recommend. Not only has it helped me color grade these way faster, but I feel like you have to film everything perfectly to really get an accurate film look with the first method. Whereas using the plugin, it's like any type of footage can be converted to looking real. It just looks like it's actually shot on a 35mm film stock. I know some of y'all have either seen or are still using VHS emulations that look like this.
Stop it. Get some help.
Please don't do that. We are past that. And there are much more tools available to achieve a look like that. All right, so first things first, we're gonna open up our editor. I'm using Final Cut Pro, but this can work in any editor. I've been using Premiere and Final Cut for so long, and I am the type of person that will do anything to avoid learning DaVinci Resolve. So let me show you guys how I am saucing this footage without using one of the greatest color grading tools. Let's go here to this shot of Emily. This is a frame from the video that I just showed you guys. I shot this lookbook in New York for my brand, and just look at this. This is the log footage. This is where we got with it. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The first thing that I'm gonna do is drag an adjustment layer in. Let me delete this. Put that adjustment layer over the footage. If you don't have adjustment layers, I'll put a link on where you can get some. So of this footage in New York, something I did to really achieve the look from scratch is in camera when I was filming, I put a lens filter on, a diffusion filter. There's a bunch of different filters like this. It's either called the Pro Mist filter, Dream filter, but it basically adds diffusion on the lens and it makes the highlights like this walking sign up here kind of bloom. That soft look that it gives your footage is really gonna help sell the vintage look. To start off, I always like to add some contrast to my footage. So I'm just going to darken my shadows, raise my highlights, and now add some saturation overall. Already before and after, that's looking a little bit better. Then I like to go and add a LUT. So I'm gonna type in custom LUT, drag this on. I believe the LUT that I used for this is called Manhattan by Tropic Color. It always goes on way too intense, so I'm gonna just use it a little bit. Let's go with something around here. I like that. Don't want to do too much. Ooh, see, if you're looking at the lumiscopes here, it is a little bit overexposed here. When we put our film overlay on top of this, that's gonna help to make these highlights not as blown out. Adding like a yellowish, orangish, greenish tone in here will make it hit just a little more. So I'm gonna drag these. Let's go ahead and add another color board just to be versatile. I feel like when you add multiple layers of color in, that's when you start to really get a unique sort of look. Also, I'm gonna go back to the first color board and just turn that contrast down again. And let's turn that LUT up a little more. That doesn't look bad, honestly. Okay, let's add another adjustment layer. On this one, we're going to add an effect called Romantic. This is almost like, it almost adds like a blur. Prior to discovering Dehancer, I would find myself using this effect to kind of add that artificial softness in here, but you just have to be careful because it can easily start to look really bad. We're gonna make this just enough to where you see it, but not intense enough to where it's very noticeable. And yeah, the last thing that I'm gonna add in here is some grain. I have this grain overlay that I like to use. It works pretty well. I'm gonna go ahead and put a download link to this grain in the description, so y'all can go use that if you need to. but let's go ahead and change the blend mode to overlay. It slightly brightened the image, so I'm gonna go back to our adjustment layer, and what can we do? Add some contrast. Let's drop the midtones overall. What I find is that film sometimes has this real like saturated color density to it, so I'm just raising the highlights and midtones a little bit. I want these edges here to really pop with some color, and I want these darker colors like this blue and this red brick to really pop out. So I'm adding some more saturation to the highlights and the midtones. I feel like this looks pretty good right now. On this first clip over here, we're gonna take that same adjustment layer, see how that goes on. Not bad. That is not bad at all. I'm gonna see if I can add a little bit more blue to these shadows, or to the street shadows up just a tad in the bluish cyan, whatever you want to call that, teal. And we could turn up the saturation of the shadows just a tad too. Already, just with that LUT and the slight greenish tint that we're adding to this, looks pretty good. Let's add some grain and some of that blur, or bloom I should say. If the grain isn't heavy enough for you, you could add another layer of it. Let's do that again. That seems to be a lot more noticeable. Overall, looks pretty good. Overall, that's not bad. It just takes a lot of steps and a lot of trial and error to get a good look. Let's go ahead and get into method number 2 now, using a plugin called Dehancer. Dehancer is a film emulation plugin, and I was surprised at how well this works. Not only does it have things like film grain and halation that you can control to really get that film look, but it also has like 100 different film stocks in there. So I have some test footage here. This is just of a park shot on my Blackmagic 6K. Let's go ahead and drag Dehancer in. Right off the bat, it looks crazy. That's only because there's a film stock automatically applied, which isn't the correct one for this exact look. Also, I haven't selected the camera. Something that is so great about this tool is instead of you having to use a conversion LUT to bring your log footage into Rec 709, all you have to do is come up here, choose your camera vendor. For me is Blackmagic. Camera, Pocket 6K. Mine is Gen 5 ISO 400. That automatically will bring your camera to its correct settings. From there, you can change the exposure, the temperature, and the tint. I'm gonna bring my exposure compensation down. It was a little bit overexposed. The image is definitely on the cooler side, so I would warm that up. And the tint seems to be a little green, so I would push that a little bit towards pink. From there are literally like 50 different film stocks that you can choose from. They have pretty much every brand. There's a wide variety from black and white to color. Let's just keep previewing some of these for y'all, just so you can see. Also, once you apply it, you can adjust the push and pull to really fine tune that color that you want. I'm gonna show you guys all the settings that it has in a second, but something that I absolutely love about this plugin is at the very end, there's something called LUT generator. You can export a LUT that you just made with Dehancer, so you can use it on other footage, and you can save that LUT as an effect. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this Dehancer off because I already made and saved a preset LUT for my camera with the color corrections, etc. that I like to use that gives me a pretty good base. I haven't seen what it looks like on this part, but I'm gonna go ahead and just slap it on and see how it looks. This is a little overexposed, but overall, that's not bad. Let's go ahead and bring the exposure compensation down. Temperature control, I'd probably warm that up a tad. Tint is actually looking okay. And then I think the blacks need to get dropped down to add some contrast. So we're gonna go to black point here and just darken that a little. Off rip, what did we do? 3 corrections on that, and that is looking pretty solid. Like, I'm actually kind of shocked. Let me just show you guys all of the different sliders in here. So first we have the film developer. I haven't even messed with this, but basically what this does is give you sliders for contrast boost, gamma correction, color separation, color boost. I didn't even use that for this particular one. I'm just gonna keep it as is. In the film tab, this is where you select the film that you like. I ended up going with this Kodak Portra. Film compression. What film compression does is preserve your highlights. So as you can see, this is it turned on, this is it turned off. It's really just affecting the highlights in the sky and saving it from being blown out. In the color head, this is where you can get in and really start color grading. You can just adjust values all across the board to either warm it up. Ooh, that actually looks good on the warmer side. I'm gonna keep that there. This is our before and after for the color head. There are multiple values that you can mess with. Now to my favorite section of all of them, the film grain. This tool really makes the footage come alive. So film grain, not only can you select automatic stocks, the higher the ISO, the more grain, the lower the ISO, the less grain, but you can also select the type of film. So if you went for a 16mm stock, it's automatically gonna be more grungy, thicker grain, larger grain, and so on. Down to 8, super heavy grain. Not to my particular flavor, but for a certain type of look, this could absolutely achieve a realistic 8mm film look. Also, you have the ability to customize the size of the grain and everything from scratch. I'm just using the pre-selected 35mm 500 ISO grain. I feel like the grain is smooth and small, but there's enough of it to where. Next we have potentially the biggest reason that I would recommend getting this plugin, the halation. For those of you who don't know what halation is, it is defined by the spreading of light beyond its proper boundaries in a developed photographic image. On the edges of film in photo or video, there's a very, very, very fine red line that starts to show anywhere where there's heavy contrast. So if you're going from a bright corner of this house to the shadow side or just to other colors on the screen, there's gonna be a fine red line and glow around it that really helps to sell the film look. I'm gonna go to the custom halation. I'm gonna go to the custom halation tab just to show you guys the difference that it makes in the footage. I'm gonna show you guys the halation. I'm gonna show you guys the halation in action on other footage where we actually have a subject, because I feel like that will really help to show the halation tool in action. Another tool it has is bloom. If you happened to not shoot with a Pro Mist filter, you'd be able to add that in post with this bloom tool. You can see when I add it on and off, those mountains in the back get that extra glow to them. I think that's super cool and can really allow you to customize it and make it look like legitimate film. The last thing that I really like to use on this plugin is the gate weave. Basically, when that's selected, it crops in your footage a little bit, but it gives it this film-like camera shake. My footage is already handheld and a little shaky, so it's not giving it this much shake, but it's giving it this jitter, which is a characteristic of film. All right, moving on, I have some shots of my friend Steph at the beach. We also have these shots of this old Ferrari. And lastly, we have shots in Chinatown of my friend Bobby. So we have this shot of my friend Steph at the beach. Let's go ahead and paste our pre-made Blackmagic LUT. Drop that in. Wow, that's already looking super close to finished. All right, let's come here. First thing I'm seeing is it's a little overexposed. We'll bring that down. Let's bring that down a tiny bit more. Next thing I'm seeing is the tint. This day was actually cotton candy sky, so I'm gonna make this a little bit more pink so we can actually show that. I'm also gonna warm it up just a tad. Boom, that's the before and after. I'm gonna try pick a new film developer and see how that works. Ooh, I'm really liking this Portra 400. It's low contrast. That is looking legit to me. I wanna go for a slightly warmer look, actually. I put the tint a little bit more towards the pink. I really wanted to go for that cotton candy look with this one, but we just finished and look at the before and after. Like, this legit looks like film. On this particular shot, I'm gonna drop the shadows. I feel like that would look good. Add some green to the shadows as well. Like, come on, tell me that doesn't look like film. Moving on to these shots of the Ferrari. We're gonna start with a new adjustment layer on it. Throw our Dehancer LUT on there. All right, this first shot is a little overexposed, so let's correct that. Exposure compensation down, black point down. Let's warm this footage up. It was that golden hour and it was hitting. Already, without me doing much, we go from this to this. Like, come on. It just looks authentic. The shot of the tire looks great. I'm gonna change the tint a little bit. It's a little on the green side. Although I like it like that, I'm just gonna do a tiny bit less. Gosh, it's just flawless. This shot is dope. Again, pretty heavy on the green tint. I'm gonna just correct that. I like the warmth in it. It needs a little more contrast. Let's come to our tonal contrast. Wow, that did it. Color density in this would be great. I'm gonna lower our white point. It's a little bright back there. And I think we're good. Like, that just looks great off bat. Wow, look at this emblem shot. Chef's kiss. All right, lastly, we have these shots of my friend Bobby in Chinatown. We'll start with our preset, and wow. Drag and drop, that's pretty impressive. I think there are some fine details that we could play around with to make it better. I like this one. Those reds look intense. These ooh, yeah. Okay, so for this one, the neon sign makes it a little tricky. Oh, it actually looks really good in this shot. I would have to change the color density of the reds to fix this, but overall, it looks really good. So I'm only gonna fix the color density of the reds. Okay, so color density is at 7 right now. Let's go ahead and bring that down. I'm gonna play with this until I can fix it. All right, guys, I fixed it. In the preset thing that I had made, I had the saturation actually super boosted in my color tab. So all I did was bring that saturation down a little and I was able to fix it. Now I'm gonna undo some of the green tint that I did. I made that pretty intense to try to counteract the red. Let's see the before and after of this. That is crazy. That looks cinematic, filmy, grainy, beautiful. This is the unedited one, and this one looks flawless as well. We could increase the contrast a tad, but overall, it looks great. All right, time for some final thoughts. So overall, I think this plugin is great for the young filmmaker, the production company, someone who wouldn't consider yourself a pro at color grading, but you know what you want to see. This tool makes it extremely easy to achieve a look that you're wanting to get. I love the amount of sliders that it has and things that you can just experiment with to get a good look instead of having to know what to tweak in your color wheel, etc. It gives you a lot of options, so for a visual person, which I'd assume we all are, it makes it really easy to navigate and makes the workflow a lot smoother. When Dehancer originally contacted me for collaboration, they told me that I'm not obligated to give any type of positive review. They just simply want me to test the product out for 30 days. So I decided to do a film tutorial and just give my honest opinion on how to achieve a good film look. I don't like clickbaity videos, so I gave 2 options of achieving a film look, but for the filmmaker who's willing to invest in their craft and in their time, I would 10 out of 10 recommend this product. I don't know about you guys, but I constantly see people using Halation in DaVinci Resolve, and I've looked for a Halation plugin everywhere for Final Cut Pro. I was not able to find one, but now that I have it, it's something that I couldn't see myself not having. This tool is so much more than just halation and just film grain. It literally made the color grading process effortless and actually fun to do. Lastly, for the people on my channel who maybe aren't shooting on a camera and they're just using their iPhone, don't worry, this works for you too. In fact, they have an iPhone app. So quick bonus, I'm actually gonna show you guys their iPhone app and how it works. You can just use it straight off of the camera. I'll go ahead and take one right here. I'm gonna use this photo and edit it real quick for you guys. Off jump, the Fuji Chrome looks good. Not my fave, not my fave. Let me go to one that, ooh, Kodak Ector looks good. Kodak Gold looks really good. There are hella options on here, but let's go to some better examples than that. Let's go to my favorites because I had liked some things that I want to use on here. Let's select this photo of me in London, and just see our options. Okay, this one's like a really grainy, grungy look. I honestly like this. I like the fade that it has. It just needs to be warmed up color wise. Where is, oh yeah, temperature compensation. Once that's warmed up, this looks great. Let's keep exploring the presets though. Ooh, that's another good one. Let's do a video now. Wow. So the amount of options they have is crazy. Any preset you select, you can also go and edit it. You can control all the same sliders as the desktop version that I just showed you. So if you're interested in just making your iPhone footage look better or your photos, definitely come check out the app. It's free to try out like I'm doing right now, but it does cost $9 if you want to use it. For the content creator who's looking to just try it out, I would definitely recommend getting it on the phone. Just see how you like it and proceed from there if you want to get it for the year. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, how much does Dehancer cost? You can try it out on a 3-month basis for $149, a 6-month basis for $199, a 1-year basis for $299, or a lifetime purchase for $449. If you use my code NICK10, not only will that give me a little bit of commission, but it will also give you 10% off. So if you're a filmmaker who's looking to invest in a tool that's gonna make your workflow easier and help you achieve a very unique look almost effortlessly, go ahead and use my code NICK10 for 10% off your purchase of Dehancer. No matter who you are though, hopefully you did gain some value from this video. And if you did, go ahead and hit that like button for me. Once again, shout out to Dehancer for sponsoring this video and sending me the product for review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.